Amara was born on a warm Harmattan morning in a small town in northern Nigeria. At birth, her brain was like soft clay, full of potential but not yet shaped. Psychologically, this stage is known as early neural development, where the brain contains billions of neurons but very few connections. Neurons are brain cells, and synapses are the connections between them. Learning happens when these synapses are formed and strengthened. In her first months, Amara did not understand words or numbers. However, her brain was already learning through sensory processing, which is how the brain interprets information from the senses. When her mother spoke, Amara's brain practiced auditory discrimination, the ability to notice differences in sounds. This is the foundation for decoding words later in life. When she stared at her mother's face, her brain used visual perception to recognize shapes and patterns, an early skill for decoding figures. By age 1, Amara began to coordinate her eyes and hands. This is called sensorimotor coordination, defined in psychology as the ability to combine sensory input with physical movement. When she stacked small cups or pointed at objects, her brain was practicing spatial awareness, which is the understanding of where objects exist in space. This skill later supports geometry, drawing, and mathematics. As Amara grew into early childhood, her brain entered what psychologists call the preoperational stage. John Piaget, at this stage, children think using symbols, words, drawings, and numbers, but their thinking is still concrete and imaginative. Amara loved stories told by her grandmother, and through these stories, her brain developed language acquisition, which is the process of learning vocabulary, grammar, and meaning. When Amara learned to count stones while helping her father on the farm, her brain practiced numerical cognition, defined as the mental ability to understand numbers and quantities. She could count 1, 2, 3, but she did not yet fully understand that numbers represent fixed values. This is because her working memory, the system that temporarily holds and manipulates information, was still developing. Drawing shapes in the sand helped Amara coordinate figures and words. When she said circle while drawing one, her brain connected verbal labeling, naming, with visual motor integration, coordinating vision and movement. According to psychology, this integration is essential for reading, writing, and mathematics. Primary school changed Amara's brain significantly. This stage is marked by concrete operational thinking, where children begin logical reasoning about real objects. Amara learned to read sentences and solve basic arithmetic. Psychologically, reading involves decoding, which is the process of translating written symbols to sounds and meaning. When Amara read words, her brain connected the visual cortex, seeing letters, with the language centers, understanding meaning. This coordination is known as phonological processing, which is the ability to connect letters to sounds to read words correctly. In Quizlet terms, phonological processing equals linking letters to sounds to read words correctly. Mathematics strengthened another part of her brain, executive function. Executive function includes skills like planning, attention, and problem solving. When Amara solved word problems, her brain had to coordinate verbal comprehension, understanding the question, with quantitative reasoning, working with numbers. This coordination trained her brain to think systematically and logically.